Hello and welcome to Fork in Politics. I'm Calvin Chapman, your host, and today is another of my Get Wrecked Wednesdays where I'm going to discuss Unison, the union. Recently did a video on Unite the Union, who is one of the larger unions in this country. It's also one of the largest funders of the Labour Party. Unison is the same. Unison funds between 1.5 and 2.5 million a year into the Labour Party. So I was quite interested in what their accounts would show. If you want to see the Unite the Union, you can go and see that here, and I genuinely do recommend you go see it because they're just absolute hypocrites. In 2012, which is the first accounts that are showing on the government website, and I'm sure I could go get earlier ones, but again, same as Unite the Union, I will look at 2012 to 2016. And in the 2012 accounts, it showed that they had 1,265,825 members, and that was broken down as 291,381 male members and 974,445 female. So if I was a social justice warrior, I would be asking why Unison is such a sexist union that they can't have equal men and women. I think that's outrageous. Fortunately, I'm not a social justice warrior. In 2012, Unison had a total income of £173,107,000. £173 million. That's a large number of people for just over 1.2 million 1.2 million members. So I obviously went and had a look at how much tax they paid for that year. 173.1 million. Yeah, you've guessed it, they didn't pay a single penny in tax on that. So maybe the issue is, they got 173 million and it was all spent on running the union for the members. So, like any business, you wouldn't pay tax on it. Unfortunately, no. If you take out their outgoings of 105 million, they had roughly round about 70 million, you could call it profit. And on that 70 million, they didn't pay a single penny in tax. So we go and have a look at 2013. They had an income of £186,565,000. And yes, you've guessed it, they didn't pay a single penny in tax in those 2 years, which really doesn't surprise anyone. So they had expenses that year of just 87.7 million, leaving them with a profit of 98.9 million pounds. That's 100 million pounds that they had. In the 2 years, that's 170 million pure profit that they paid not one single penny tax on. So we go have a look at 2014. Did they do the same? They had income of 168.8 million. And yes, again, they didn't pay a single penny in tax that year either. That year, I checked, they donated £2,805,315.53 to Labour. 2.8 million they were able to give to Labour, but they couldn't give a single penny in tax. And out of interest, 1.3 million went to Labour in 2013 and 2.18 million in 2015. One payment in 2015 alone was £1,384,288.76, but they couldn't pay a penny in tax. So what we're up to? The total 2012, 13 and 14 gave them an income of 528,490, and they did not pay one single solitary penny in tax to the government. So 2015, well, 2015 was a bumpy year. They got £201,724,000. So if you want to keep the tally, so far we're at £730,214,000. They had total expenditure of 160 million, leaving them with 41 million in profit, and not a single penny in tax was paid to the government that year. So 2016, what did we get in 2016? Still the same number of members. They do very little to get more members, but if you've got a gravy train that's giving you that kind of money, why would you bother going to the effort of getting new members? You know, you've got a gravy train, keep on with that. So 2016, they were relative paupers that year. They had 160,487,000, and that gave them expenditure of 265. So they had a substantial deficit that year. Labour got its mitts on 1.89 million, but again, not a single penny in tax. How can they be allowed to give money to Labour every single year and pay not a penny in tax? So, you know, the total for Unison over those years, 2012 to 16, gave them £890,701,000, and they didn't pay a single penny in tax. Unite the Union. Now, the previous Get Wrecked Wednesday that I did, I'd only gone up to 2015 because 2016 wasn't available at that point. But over 2012 and including 2016, Unite the Union had £811,538,000. They paid tax on 2 occasions. They paid 1 million and then the next year 2.2. So I went and I went and checked what they got in 2016, what tax they paid in 2016. Bearing in mind that we're almost on £0.9 billion income, they got a tax rebate of £100,000. So they not only didn't pay tax, they actually got a rebate. It just staggers me. I mean, £1.7 billion between the two unions. Unfortunately, I didn't add up how much they each gave to Labour of that period. It will be in the description below, and it will be on the website text. I will check how much of that period they paid Labour. But the two of them paid 2.1 million in total between 2012 and 2016 on 1.7 billion income. They paid 2.1 million, and that was only one of the two paid that. So I went and had a look at Dave Prentice. You know, has he ever talked? Dave Prentice runs Unison. He was first elected in 2001. And this is what the hypocrite, again, up there and down there, this is what he said on the 20th of May 2016. So a year and a bit ago. Tackling tax avoidance is something I've always been passionate about. Very passionate. Go on, Mr. Prentice. Avoiding tax is morally wrong and pulls vital funds away from public services under pressure, not just at home but around the world. I've spoken out before. Bet he bloody has. I've spoken out before on the global failure to tackle tax avoidance, especially from multinationals. And as a public service union, this is an issue that Unison takes incredibly seriously. Because the less tax that's collected means there's less to be spent on already stretched public services and for the salaries of those who provide them, all whilst the very wealthiest rely on the rest of us to pick up the tab. You hypocrite. The rest of us to pick up the tab for those same services. You didn't pay a penny! Not one penny. Not one penny on nearly 900 million in income. You absolute hypocrite. You condescending, nasty, tax avoiding, immoral hypocrite. I have absolutely no doubts that what your union has done is perfectly legitimate and perfectly legal, but it's tax avoidance. 900 million and you didn't pay a penny in tax. You absolutely disgusting hypocrite.